season.
W5 out the box. Come record it. The gang's all here.
So everyone, hello and good night. Welcome to our exciting podcast where we dive into the transformative process of mapping and marketing. So today with me, I have the beautiful David Casseus, the man who needs no introduction, the legend incarnated.
You're crazy.
So David, tell a bit about yourself.
Well, first off, I would like to say that I'm thrilled to share today's insight on process mapping and how we can essentially optimize, simplify your marketing strategy and business growth. So as a business owner, we tend to experience, some ups and downs, but I'm going to let you introduce the subject first.
Let's talk about what you see in terms of the real pain that entrepreneurs live with their marketing.
Wow, where to start? I'm going to take a page of one of Russell Brunson's book, The Dot-Com Secret, is that when you're starting off in business, typically one of the first things you'll be doing is your website, and you'll be all excited about it. And you'll essentially, like I like to say today, it's going to be based on your ego. So if you have a $5,000 ego or $10,000 or recently I was talking to an entrepreneur. She had a quote for brand new startup, $30,000 for a website. And hey, like most of us, we get that website. We're so excited through the process. It's visually, it's very nice. And not to discredit my wonderful marketing partners, you'll see when you listen to the podcast, we'll get to a point where at the end of the day, it's kind of a little bit of our fault because we go and talk to our marketing partners and we're like, we want to have a website. But in reality, what we want is we want leads, or we think we're getting sales, but in reality, we're getting leads because some of those leads, depending on what the price of your services is, they won't necessarily be clients off the bat. So for instance, if your services are more than $2,000, they need to talk to you. Unless you have a very good a public persona, or you're well known, you're an author, you're whatever the success you have. If you have already a sort of clout, yes, you'll be able to convert these potential leads into clients. But at the beginning of the process, your marketing is to draw people to be interested in what you do and to go slowly but surely in your customer journey. All that to say that we're making those investments and we're talking to different specialists. For instance, you want to do social media and you reach out to your network and you'll get that guy that had success who worked with an influencer and got it to 250,000 followers, 5 million followers, whatever the number is. And you'll be like, I want to do that for my business. But the reality...
But a few things that I took from what you said. So first of all, the website doesn't automatically generate you money. Is that what you said?
No, it doesn't.
So if you could explain to people, why does the website doesn't bring money directly to you?
And with a clear expectation that some services people will get on to your website, then they'll use your services. You're a plumber, they Google you, they search for you, they get on your website, they'll use your services. But there are other services like the type of things we do, professional services, and some of them are a little bit more niche. They going to your website, they'll have, okay, yeah, it's established, it looks legit, but how do we work with this guy? So unless the website is specifically to when you get on the website, you have a proper call to actions, you're giving something, either you're giving something free, you're letting people experience what you do. And then as you show them value, you slowly get them as clients. And in perspective, you want to do that at a certain volume. That's what we're doing this year specifically. Investing in marketing is really, before you start talking to different experts and specialists, it's all about building a strategy. So if we don't know what our requirements or what we're trying to achieve with our marketing this year, planning it, how do you think you're going to get results?
Well, I think in that sense, if people do not have this part of their marketing planned it's very difficult to attain objectives if they aren't clarified.
Exactly.
So in that sense, I know you worked with me a lot this year on how to build my objectives marketing wise, how to look at my process, to look at what am I doing? How is my customer getting to my company? And in many cases, you brought me back to the beginning as to who is your customer?
Yes.
How does he get to see you in 2023, 2024 now going?
Yeah.
What is the funnel bringing you to me? Right?
Yeah.
And if I can identify this funnel as where's my customer and how can he come to me, as you said, I make money.
Yeah.
So to relate to the website idea, you said, can you explain more how you build strategies in that sense, leading to the website?
Well, the strategies to build a website. First off, I'm not a marketing strategist. I'm a business strategist, but everything is linked. So if you don't have a clear definition of your values, your core focus, the different persona, the type of clients that you're working with, what is your service offer, what's your goal in 3 years, et cetera, how can you then define the means to get those clients? So that's where the marketing strategy becomes handy. Unfortunately, and especially with SMEs, because this is kind of our world, you won't frequently find marketing strategists, meaning that they'll take those business objectives and convert them in a mix or an action of, you know what, in your specific case, we were talking earlier with the guys here that are recording us, essentially, when you're talking to your audience, who's going to listen, who are you going to create value, then when that is decided by the business owners, that's where you make the life of everyone that is involved in a marketing project easier.
So you seem to be speaking of the process then, of the marketing.
Yes.
So my leading question to you then would be, how do you see the involvement of mapping a process and marketing in a company and generating leads, as you said earlier?
That's an excellent question. Excellent question. So for process mapping and mapping your marketing process, and I think we have an image of that at a point, it's putting it in a way where everybody understands what is going to be happening, what's the beginning, what's the end, how long is it going to take, where are we at with the implementation of our marketing strategy, so we can then go back and evaluate the success of what we're doing. So going back to you're building a website, you're never going to ask your marketing resource or the person that designed or built the website, how many visitors I'm going to get, what's going to be my conversion. We're not asking these questions. We're just being pitched, or because marketing at the end of the day, it's a seduction act like selling. It's essentially the same. The way they're presenting it to you, like you're wild, but you're not making your due diligence. You're not asking the right questions. You're not getting into what these guys are doing. You're asking them if, hey, this is what I need to deliver. Can you guys help me? What is the process? What what's the return is going to be, etc. We ask these questions when we're after our third or fourth marketing specialist.
Because then you failed enough to know that you need a plan.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, David, if I was a 6-year-old, how would you define mapping to me? How would you explain to me what this process of making a process in image form to help me in my company, in my process?
You're right. Before talking about marketing process, we're going to talk about process itself. So it's a representation of activities, tasks made by people using tools or documents. So to represent a company, a flow, how one input result in another output. Okay, so I draw it visually because a lot of my clients are neurodiverse. And I have a lot of neurodiverse partner as well.
Shout out
to Joseph that is in BNI Malta with his wonderful podcast. Essentially what we do is that we visualize how we actually work. So it creates a sense of everybody that is involved it's, oh, okay, this is how we're working. You're training a new person. Oh, this is the marketing process. So it gives a point of reference. And then when you talk to your partners, showing them that, you know what, typically my inflow of clients is I get referrals from the networking, for instance. So how this is flowing into my CRM. Just explaining this to a marketing partner, now their setup, even the visual that they're going to use is going to be influenced. Where if you don't give them any requirements, they'll go whatever the route of requirements they think is good for you. You see what I mean? So that's where you're going to have one of the first disconnects. So by mapping it, it creates a common understanding and vision of this is how we're going to be functioning for this marketing plan. So in terms of deliverable, I know you were about to ask a question. In my case, it's through social media, networking, LinkedIn. These are my main channels. So this is where I'm putting most of my energy this year. And we're doing it from the beginning with the right team, the right plan. And hopefully in a few episodes of this podcast or by next year, you guys will have gone through the journey with us, but essentially mapping the process in terms of marketing today. The fact that we're recording this podcast tomorrow, we're creating other content. For a while, we've been posting on different social media, getting a sense of what people are engaged, what people are seeing. So this is where you start to create kind of a momentum in your marketing strategy, because everything is defined and everybody that is involved know what is their part and what the end result.
So in terms of being a sensei yourself, a product of the product itself, how do you see yourself applying mapping in your own marketing process for WiseBA?
Love it.
How do you bring customers to your own doors, which in turn bring money to your pockets?
Yes.
Please tell us.
You're crazy. So today, me spending time on marketing came essentially from a lot of frustration. Most of you SMEs.
Please say more. What were the frustrations that you lived?
Well, throughout the last 10 years, and this is not only with my own business, but also with clients, we've experienced the highs and lows on when a marketing strategy was well applied or not. Okay, so to give you an idea, most of my clients are between $500,000 and $8 million in terms of revenue. So they're not in that pressure anymore of, oh, we need clients. The marketing machine itself, regardless of the channel, is already activated. It's when you get to a point where you want to be consistent or have kind of a control, like a flow or a gas pedal, that then it becomes more sophisticated. It becomes more organized. So this is where I'm at right now with my 3 businesses, but also the clients that I'm experiencing or working with. The ones that have a certain volume, they'll concentrate more on, being more precise. So they'll review their marketing persona, their ideal client more often. They'll even regularly will drop a percentage of clients because they're not aligned where they want to go, where they're heading. But that's going to create more room for maybe less clients, but clients with that are, when they're going to take their services, they're going to use the full range of their services. So they're getting the maximum value. Every time a new service offer or a new product is introduced, typically these type of clients, they want to be in the beta, they want to test it, they want to use it first. So that's what I'm seeing right now in terms of the marketing strategies. But for sure, the marketing strategist's role in itself, it's not something that is common here around the world, because I'm well aware, involved in different part of the country through Business Network International. So this is the feedback that I'm getting. This is what I'm seeing in terms of numbers as well, and data and statistics. This is what
I've seen from your strategy, right, is that you used a lot of these processes for yourself, right? Yeah. So as you said earlier, you now have this podcast, you now have other medias, you have YouTube channels, right? So you're building new ways, mapping new ways to bring customers to you.
Exactly.
So for that, did you put down the process on paper?
Yes, I did.
All right. If you could describe, right, the typical flow of marketing from, per se, platform and to the customer. What's the typical roadmap or typical mapping process, you would say?
Yeah, so let me take a very simple business such as, let's take a roofer.
Okay.
One of my good clients. I love working with roofers. So there are about 50 employees, and essentially their biggest in that industry, you have highs and lows. Like right now, it's kind of the slower season. It's more for industrial project. So this right now is the right time to be ready. So the moment it starts to get warmer, that's when people start calling. So
A cyclical business.
Well, more
seasonal business.
Seasonal business, yeah. A longer season, but still. So in their case is the moment we want to be able to automate the volume of people that will call in a very short span, from a call to a callback to a proposal, or to a visit to a proposal to a confirmation to a first payment. All this part we want to automate because today there's too much human intervention. Not that we're going to remove human intervention, but we want to put them in a position where they're doing more task-oriented kind of deliverables, where they have to use their logic, etc. And we remove the admin that is kind of taking them off of what they really should be doing, so they'll be more efficient.
So I hear you talking about automation, right?
Yes.
I think you should maybe develop this aspect a bit more, right? Because it speaks to the beautiful problem, actually, of I've built a funnel, and people are now coming to my website, and now they want my services.
Yeah.
Now I have 300, 400 people wanting to take my services, right? Where the hell do I find the time to deal with all these people, to make the callbacks, the email backs, the text message backs to all these people? Is there a way to automate my mapping process or my marketing process or my growth?
Well, there's so many tools for that, and specifically there are CRMs, most of them. But recently we tend to go more, or I said we tend, and it's been around for recent years. Go high level. So go high level is not a CRM, it's a marketing automation system. It's a little bit in the same kind of realm that HubSpot is. So those type of solution keep. So it's not only taking a customer that comes on your website, you have the information, or they fill in a form. They give for instance, they'll put their phone numbers. Well, through automation, you can have a pre-recorded message, an acknowledgement, different ways that nobody's involved, but at least that specific customer he's going to stop shopping. He's like, oh, okay, they saw me, they're going to get back to me. This, regardless of the volume, because there's nobody that is actually doing the task, it basically will follow how big you become. That's why we want to put automation on those things.
So if I hear correctly, automation is being able to handle a lot more customers with a fraction of the time involved to doing it.
Yes.
So I think that speaks to our earlier point of in 2023, 2024, right? Everybody's looking to acquire new customers. I think they've been lean years.
Yes.
So in this year coming, how do you see these tools being applied then?
To be honest,
to attract customers.
Well, especially since what now? It's past a year, December 2022, when ChatGPT came out. On a lot of the
shout out to ChatGPT, the savior.
yeah. This alone, so AI was there before has been there a while now, but actually creating an interface where most users could interact with the AI and use it to do their job. For instance, today we're all aware that a lot of the content that is creating is AI generated, from posts to stories, even now with the deepfakes and all these things. You're watching content, and sometimes you have to ask yourself if it's not AI generated, but that's just content. Building strategy, writing, coding, all these things that AI is helping us generate, your marketing project, where before you would have a team of people doing these different actions, you'll be on a system like high level with maybe one or two, an integrator and someone that is more that does the design, the artistic direction, etc. There's a lot of things that you can do with two people using those type of systems.
So would you say that this is the typical path a person uses in their marketing strategy today? Because when you say it, you put it plainly and, pretty like somebody's used to it. But would you say the typical owner of a company, manager of a marketing department is aware of all these new tools to help them automate, create more content efficiently, and interact with their customer on a more regular basis? Like, is this out there?
I would say it's an excellent question, because at the end of the day, it depends of what's the culture of that specific business. You'll have marketing department that are very stale. Whatever they're doing, it works. They won't touch it unless there's a change to the algorithm, or for some reason they close down all the newsrooms. That's when they'll be creative, but it's not necessarily in a lot of companies to be innovative. If that's the case, yes, for sure, these companies are already they made that transition. But for instance, when you look at any post on Facebook where someone is asking, "Oh, I need a new CRM," the answers that you'll get, you're starting to see a little bit more of those solutions like System.io, high level that are being mentioned. But I think for now, people are still on Pipedrive and Monday and whatever I was about to swear. Whatever the heck you think is a good CRM, but a CRM is a tool. It needs to be integrated, and especially in the marketing strategy.
So David, give us an example of a company that you tried to show them the way to these automating platforms and that refused it.
Oh, no.
Why did they
I'm going to
refuse?
stop you right there.
No?
They're not my clients. I don't work with these folks.
I know.
No.
So essentially, they've told you that they don't understand the value of automating the time and just essentially bringing the fraction down of a whole marketing department to a platform that can output a lot more than a marketing department could do. If a company doesn't see the benefit in savings in terms of marketing and in terms of the money spent to acquire a customer, I think they've missed the point.
Well, you brought it very nicely to the end. Unless you're measuring the cost of bringing a customer, you're still learning about how important it is to your business. So so I have a very clear persona of the type of businesses that I'm working. The ones that I'm working with, they're ambitious. They're visionaries. They want to evolve somewhere in their values. They're, like I said earlier, innovations, something related to the fact that we're moving forward. So the number of people that I introduced this year to ChatGPT, it's incredible.
Testify.
Like around January, most of my clients and people in my network, I made a call.
Yeah.
And sometimes it wasn't even a call. I was basically using it in front of them to their context.
Yeah. I think, as you mentioned, ChatGPT is such a useful tool, right, in terms of marketing and what it can generate in terms of text, image, captions. And I remember you called me on a Saturday and you told me, "Yo, you need to be on this ChatGPT thing." And I said, but David, you said, "Shut up. You need to be on this." And funny part aside, you've shown me how to use ChatGPT to generate posts on a level that a person would have charged me a lot, would have taken a lot of time to give me this content that I can use to reach my customer and bring more money into my pockets, right? So now that we spoke a bit about these pain points, about how it hurts companies financially, not to understand these new tools and new ways to generate money this year, right? How would you describe the process of mapping, helping, this marketing aspect to people?
Well, essentially, we start with from your business plan. So your one-page strategic plan. This is kind of our go-to tool. A lot of us or a lot of companies, they still want to keep in mind that they have to address their marketing. So either is it generating more, ultimately more sales, or is it, like I said earlier, if it's to pinpoint more their ideal client or to offer a new service, etc., etc. Somehow, HR marketing, recruiting, you know what, you know what I'm saying, attracting talents. It's a form of marketing as well.
So if you could describe, right, what is examples of business goals, marketing wise, that a company could try to have? Increase sales by, increase awareness by, like, give a few examples of marketing objectives that could orient a company.
Well, essentially, the first two that you gave are perfect here. I want to reach 5 million of sales by the end of the year. Okay, so how do I break it down? So from where I'm today, the services that I'm offering, how they're bundled, kind of figuring out, okay, in terms of percentage, what is going to be, which is going to be where, and to attract these leads on these different service offer, how many, what's the reach, how many followers, how many campaigns events, webinar that I need to do to bring those potential lead into my pipeline. So these are multiple different marketing objectives depending on where you are with your business. Another objective would be to create a brand new funnel or brand new way to introduce customers. If you are not in the news or doing PR, maybe this year your bulk of your marketing budget will be on PR, going to the shows and recordings and stuff like that, right?
Meeting people, shaking hands.
Yeah. So
the old ways.
There you go. So these are different kind of metrics or marketing goals that you're trying to achieve.
So if you can put it concretely, mapping a company's marketing process is defining each step. How does the customer's journey to you?
Yeah.
Or in terms of a company to their own objective, it maps how will you get to achieve the I want 5 millions a year.
Yes.
Right? And what are the tools that I will use to that point of I want to have 5 million?
Yes.
How many customers do you have? How will I interact with them? What is the return on my investment marketing wise? All of these metrics can be tracked.
Yes.
So companies that do not plan to fail, because if you don't have a written part of how will you achieve these objectives, you don't get to 5 million just willy-nilly. There needs to be something written down.
Exactly.
So, David, as we mentioned, the problems that entrepreneurs face to attract customers through their marketing strategy, what are the marketing challenges that a right platform can address? What can a good platform do for you marketing-wise?
Or more like the process behind the platform. The platform is actually the tools that you're going to be using. One of the issues you might have at the beginning of your marketing process is that the market analysis that you did is flawed. So basically, you're going to say, oh well, most of my marketing is going to be in that area, that age, etc. You build all your marketing, and they're totally not they're not the client. So
Okay.
they're eventually what you're going to have is that you're going to have content that is misaligned. You see what I mean?
Develop a bit more.
So you did an analysis, and your product is for men of 30 to 35 years old. So the pictures that you're using, your website, your call to action are geared to that type of demographic. To realize that along the way that the demographic that you're targeting is more 45 to 50. They're not at the same place in their life. You're not going to reach them at the same place. You might have a better chance of placing advertisement in golf magazine, for instance. to reach
Okay.
that demographic. You see?
So what is the beginning of the process then to analyze a marketing strategy?
So it's to analyze your market, then so this is just an example, right? And then it's taking the customer data that you got from the analysis, because that analysis, you can do it to surveys. You can, there's different tools like Google Analytics, and this, everything that I'm saying in terms of marketing, this is just an example. Okay, so with that, when you get all the data, your assumption of what the type of clients that you should be targeting with your marketing is wrong. Okay, so this is going to create eventually, when you're creating content for this the demographic, they're not going to react to it. They're not going to be engaged with it. Then another one, with social, especially with social media nowadays, is that they're on different platforms. And let's say that you get customers from LinkedIn, others from Instagram or to Facebook. Pulling everything at one place is not. It's not something that we do. So you'll see a lot of time on posts of large company. For instance, yesterday I was on one of our local TVs. They were promoting a show. They had a lot of likes, but none of the comments were answered back.
So no engagement then.
No engagement.
Why would you say that there wasn't any engagement with the post?
Because I think the person that is managing this account did the post and has no alerts of, hey, people are answering or engaging.
How do I create engaging content? So this is also a part of this process of evaluating what will make my customer engage with my, I guess, post that I put it, and then ultimately has more chance to buy my product,
Okay, so this,
or come back to my website or
this,
platform.
This takes a little bit of time. So for instance, for 3 months, you'll be posting different type of content, and this is how you're going to be able to evaluate which one you have more engagement and which one you have more visibility.
So please address then, what is the importance of really defining where is your customer or who is your customer versus somebody doing it and somebody not doing it?
Well, when you're really addressing your customer, first off, it's because your message is unique and authentic. Like, I'm not trying to reach everybody that is out there. I'm just trying to reach a certain type of business owners or managers. So the ones that, you know what, they want to simplify what they do. They don't want to work 40 hours, more than 40 hours a week. That's not what they were made
Free
for.
men.
Exactly. So they want to have time to enjoy life, the fruit of what they did. For instance, there's one of my clients, not this year, I couldn't, but the year before, he invited me to the racetrack. So he's driving Porsches, and for when we started working with together a while back, like in the summer, he didn't drive, or I think he drove maybe once his sport car. So this is his activities. But the last few years, he's able to go on different tracks around North America, and just enjoying the fruits of that. You know what? He has I can't remember, over 80 employees. Everything is at everybody's managing, and it kind of runs by itself. His involvement is more at the strategic level, but he did the hours. He was involved earlier. He was making the sacrifices that not everybody wants to do to bring that business to this point.
So this man has done the mapping process.
Oh, yes, we did.
And in terms, it has freed him to be able to go to the racetracks.
Yes.
So again, as we mentioned, doing this mapping process saves entrepreneurs a lot of time, right? Saves them a lot of repetition to the task that they do. As you mentioned, typically, if you have a marketing department of person, they don't have one platform to manage all of these input. They cannot take all these leads that come through all these portals, may it be LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Google, website, Twitter. So all of these platforms that people can see your company and your content. In the old days, this would have taken a lot of time and a lot of person power to do that.
Yeah.
And now with the right process and right tools, you don't need a person that much. You can save on this marketing department and still generate equal or more money. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, in a way, even if you have an existing department, using all these tools will leverage their work. The goal is not to what's the right term, to reduce or to I'm trying to find a word. Essentially, I'm not trying to squeeze everything in terms of resources to go from a team of 10 to a team of 1. That's
I know
not
you
what
can
we're
do
saying.
that though.
No,
I know you got the power.
No, not necessarily. I'm good, but not that good. At the end of the day, you still need a number of persons to help you manage your marketing process, depending of your size of your companies, the revenues, etc., etc. All that to say that bring integrating tools, most likely dashboards, because there's having one single tool, that's a little bit of a stretch, but trying to reduce the number of tools, making them work together, that's definitely something that is doable today on the marketing process. For instance, let's say you have a web page, you have a mailing list, you want to send emails, voice over IP, all these things today can be integrated in one single tool.
Boss Casseus, the man, please explain to us what are some of the advanced tools that entrepreneurs can use to help with their marketing process. Advanced techniques that really help them.
So advanced technique. The first one is dashboard, an integrated dashboard. And the second one is a proper project management tool. So let me start with integrated dashboard, because you've seen them, like the one we use for BNI, the Power of One. Okay. So imagine you have different KPIs that you want to measure for your marketing efforts, such as, if it's still a thing, visitors on your website, or mainly people that lands on your landing page, or the efficiency of a campaign, the click, what is it, the click to something, to return, the CTR. All these different metrics, they're in all kinds of systems. Most of the engagement numbers for Instagram, for instance, are in the application. They're very difficult to pull out. Facebook, yes, LinkedIn as well. So calls that you got, interactions, all these different things, how your pipeline is being filled. So all these different metrics, you want to have them at one place, but not all of them. The ones that are going to be either being lead indicators, so giving you the result, or lag and lead indicator, or lag indicator that is giving you the result, or the lead indicator that is giving you the tendency if you're doing the right things. Okay. So these type of metrics, for instance, I'm going to take my own example. I have a certain number of followers that I want to get every month. Okay. So this I want to track.
Let's put a fictive number, right?
So for me, recently it was 100% growth in 3 months of my followers.
And how do the tools help you get metrics to attract these 100 people?
So when we're talking about advanced tools, I understand your question, but I want that data to be in a place where at any time I know that I'm on pace of reaching that objective.
Okay. I get you.
So this is more the dashboard concept. What is a dashboard? When you're driving, in most of the cars, you'll have always the same information. You'll have the speed, the RPM, your temperature gauge for the engine, and your gas. In most of the cars, these are going to be the basic one. You'll have the check engine, and from a car to another, things will be different. For mine, I have the adaptive cruise control, radar things on my car. Others will have other stuff, right? So so it gives you the basic information you need to be able to use your car in the proper way. If it's getting hot, you're going to pull over, maybe have an issue with your radiator, right? When you see the check engine light, it's one of the 150 sensors on your car. There's one that is not work that kind of triggered an alarm, right? But you're not going to put every indicator on your dashboard, or else it would look like a Christmas tree.
Well, if you look at the dashboard, you look at specific objectives. If I want to know how fast I go, I look at my speedometer.
Yes.
If I want to see if my car needs maintenance, I look
Yes.
at these small indicators, right?
Yes.
So as you mentioned earlier, there are objectives in a marketing strategy, typically to have new leads or more awareness of a company,
Yes.
bring in some more foot traffic directly.
Mm-hmm.
So how can a person use this data to lead them to their marketing objectives? You mentioned CTR, so
Yes. So
you mentioned calls,
yeah.
you mentioned also visits maybe in shop.
Yes.
So how can we measure these metrics with these tools to lead us to our objectives?
Well, I'm sorry, you're going to set targets, and then as you're moving along, every week or every day, are you moving closer to your target? It's as simple as that. So you want to get to $1 million in sales. We're what, January 5th? How many sales did you do? If you divide $1 million per day, so you should be at a certain pace or a certain rate. When you look at this indicator, if after a month you want to reach $1 million and you've made no sales, then you're going to see that you're already starting to be in trouble. So this is where the dashboard become handy to have a view on your marketing project. The second one is a proper project management or task manager. And here we're talking from corporate solution like Project for the Web or Microsoft Project, like it used to be called back in the days, to nowadays solutions like Trello or Microsoft Planner is a good one as well. Well, the two are Microsoft Project for the Web and Microsoft, Asana, ClickUp. What's the other one that I really love? Monday. So all these solutions help you. And anyhow, I won't get into the Monday conversation today. But essentially, being able to set a task, put someone that is responsible, a date, and what are going to be the 2 or 3 activities related for you to complete that task.
So the second aspect of advanced techniques is project tracking.
Exactly.
So related to what we said, so I have my marketing objective. I want my 5 million a year. How do I track the process of my objectives during the quarter, during the 6 months, during the year?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So what's special about project tracking? Why is it special? What does it do? What's the benefit?
So a lot of us people that are surrounded by me or work with me, we love the traction methodology. So traction AOS from Gino Wickman. So when you take your 1-page strategic plan for your marketing project, then you're going to have one metric of, for instance, the number of leads you get per lead in your scorecard. This is where, for that scorecard or for that rock or that project, how are you actually? So you have marketing strategy for Q1. What are going to be the 10 to 12 action items you're going to be doing once a week to reach your objective? You need to have a place to track that.
I'm going to ask a spin trick question. How can I use ChatGPT with traction to help me attain my objectives?
Wow.
How can ChatGPT help me find the actions I need to put on a monthly, weekly, quarterly, 6-yearly, yearly basis?
You know what? So this is one of the service that we offer. So forget about the traction. We're not a traction implementer. I would like to give a big shout out to Thierry Alicochi, my go-to traction implementer.
The one?
Yes, exactly. We love traction. It's one of those kind of books that you can take, read, and apply. Okay.
There's also a system used. There's a platform.
Exactly. The fact that it's a system. Where I come in hand, so people that wants to work with traction implementer, I have one and a few to refer you. So I'll gladly do it. But for the ones that can't afford it or are not there or don't want to use it, we essentially take the VTO and we prime it to all the marketing documents that we have, all the strategic documents that we have, for sure. So depending of your sensitivity to sharing private information, etc. Big disclaimer, put it somewhere. I'm not responsible, but essentially what we do is we take the website, we prime the website, and then we start asking the question. So most of the time, your values are on your website. Your core purpose is on your website. The other things, so we fill in the VTO going from the 10-year, 3-year target. What does it look like to a year, to goals for the year, and then how we build a marketing strategy. So in our case, what we did is we took a few reference of marketing books and strategies, philosophy, and we kind of build our strategy based on that. So recently, for instance, tomorrow we're shooting reels based on this podcast. I asked, so I already had my strategic plan, and the prompt was based on the jab, right hook from Gary Vee book. Could you generate content for my reels? So that was it.
So if I sum it up for those that are not genius level like David, you can use ChatGPT with this vision to objective to build these monthly actions and monthly objectives that you want to attain, and then the actions that you have to do on a quarterly basis, daily basis.
Exactly.
Because reaching an objective is just a lot of steps repeated on a often basis that leads you to an objective.
Consistency.
Like losing weight is just eating a lot of salad often and exercising once in a while,
true.
right? But just, just simplifying, right?
Yeah.
If you eat healthily
Go ahead.
often enough, if you eat healthy often enough, you would be in shape typically, right?
Yes.
So oversimplification, but just putting in the sense of, if my objective is to have X more customers, then on a regular basis, I need to reach him this often time.
Yes.
I need to, have these interactions with my customer often enough to lead me to my objective of increasing my growth or reaching my financial objective. So in terms of Wise BA, tell us a bit more about how do you help people use these tools, right, to attain their objective?
Well, essentially, we start from your strategic plan, whatever form it is, and then we bring it to a point where on a weekly base, you're taking one action per priorities in a quarter. So our approach is quarterly based, because typically within 3-4 months, you whatever project you add, you can bring it to a phase, or most of them you can complete them by the quarter. So this is where, okay, let's say that the priority is reviewing the marketing process. Then for us, one of the first steps will be to map that process, then identify what are the issues we had with this process, et cetera, prioritize it. If necessary, find any type of leverage. So a big shout out to one of my good partner, my sister, Nersa Dorismond, that helps us, especially here in Quebec, get grants. Exactly. Grants, loans to drive some of our projects. So this is one of the key steps that we would be doing, and some of our partners around the world have also a similar role. And then now that we've built the plan, we have the money, we have the budget, we start to implement it. So this is where WiseBee, even before Traction, even before ChatGPT, this was already our core business. So implementing process improvement. And for us, this podcast is all about marketing, but trust me, we're going to speak about other topics as well, such as HR and operation, sales itself, and a bunch of other processes. If you listen, this is what I do. I'm the process guy.
David, please give us the juice. Give us a bit of success stories, right? Because it's good to know that you've helped people. We understand that you accompany entrepreneurs in their process building journey, right? Tell us a bit more about a few people that you've helped. No names, of course, how you've helped them, and in terms of concrete metrics, either money, either awareness, either how, the objective they had. How did the process you did with them help them achieve their objective?
Yes. So I'm going to give an example of one of my marketing partners. He does everything related to Instagram. So in his case, creating content, one of the bottleneck was that once he created content, there would be delay for the customers to approve it. I'm not talking days, sometimes weeks.
Wow.
So by the time the customer would approve the content, there were no more content that was preloaded, and so you would have a few days of
Empty gaps.
So this has an
And
impact
this
on
is
the
a big
algorithm.
sin.
Exactly.
If you're not consistent on the platforms,
Yes.
they don't push you as much.
Exactly.
Shout out to Sensei Dali.
Exactly. Exactly.
So having gaps, right? How did you solve this with your customer?
So in this case, what we've implemented, we said, you know what, we're going to put an automatic approval for this specific deliverable. It doesn't have so much of an impact in terms of the legal aspect, etc. It's a fast process. We're pushing content. If you don't approve it within 2 days, it's automatically approved. And then we start filling the content calendar. If for some reason one of the posts you don't like it, you want to rephrase it, etc., it's been programmed, it hasn't been published, so be it.
I think I know whom you are speaking about, and I have his story. Like, he was telling me before that he has 150 customers that he has to manage, creating the posts for different platforms, different volume of posts to be created. He was removing the hairs of his head. He was overheating. And he was explaining to me how he had gaps into, I have my customer today and I can deliver my process to him quickly enough. So he was losing customers. I know he worked with you and you have mapped and seen his process from how do I create the post, my company, the employees, how do they work. He told me eventually he passed from 3 weeks of managing a customer and handling the process, a day and a half now. So imagine how many people you can help more, or more customers that you can, I guess, work with when the process has been diminished by 30-fold.
Well, you know what? This is my bread and butter. At the end of the day, with WiseBE, what we do is we simplify businesses. And in this case is reducing delays in the marketing process. This is one of the many examples. I could go on and on and on.
Would you have another one? Another person, another company that you helped in their marketing journey?
So another company, it was a simple automation. So they are receiving standard emails for clients or quotes. And it's essentially an email that the assistant was taking, copying and pasting the different elements from this email. What we've put in place on the email, we've put a parser. And when that header with that same email that is always the same format would go and take the information, create the contact in the CRM with all the fields and the information that you needed. From that contact, there would be an automation where that a lead would be created. And once it's at this step, a first email that kinds of takes some of the elements of the first email that was sent is sent, a message, a text is sent as well, and there's a call that is sent automatically.
Imagine.
So by the time you press send, you have 3 interactions with that business, letting you know that we've got it from there.
You mentioned, right, that you help the customer into developing their tools to have this CRM and all this information, all these metrics for this customer, right? So was he looking to diminish the time done in the process? Was his objective?
That was the goal, but he wasn't expecting that that would be the final solution. We exceeded what he really wanted to know, because he's not aware of what technology is available and what you can do. Just another example, and it's coming. The ChatGPT voice DAO. And I saw an example. It was for a real estate agent. This one is going to be crazy because to this, like the first generation of that solution, you're not even aware that you're talking to an AI because it has a real conversation.
So AI being like this number you would call, you speak to an AI and it speaks back to you?
Yeah. So essentially, when you want to reach a lot of people, you want to do a survey or all these different mechanisms. So today, like, I don't want to say, you know what, we get a little bit, what's the right term, with AI, that the fact that it's going to replace jobs and etc. In some case, yes, it will.
Well, if the job is repetitive, right? At this point, is it bringing human value to a person doing that job?
Exactly.
Right? Like if you could have AI calling people that actually want to get called and get a service,
Yes.
you can have this AI person calling instead of an actual human that would cost you more as a business,
Yeah.
but also maybe would not appreciate that job that much, right? So what you're telling me is that these tools to the customers help him save time.
Yes. So this, what I'm talking about, you're not gonna notice it because it will most likely be an AI. But some of the conversation you'll have, the quality of them and the way they'll be able to handle objection with the power of AI would be very more smooth. So you know what? There's another experience that I was talking. What is her job again? One of the consultant that I met recently. The fact that it's in change. No, it's change management or emotion. Anyway, someone that works with a client before they get to work, they have an argument with their spouse or partner, right? So they come to the job and their energy is not at the right place. They get on a call. The first client is on and they flip. They answer back. For that customer, I can't remember if it was a bank or something like that. For that customer, the relationship with that brand is
strained.
Is exactly, and they will make a good job to let a lot of people know about it. You see what I mean? So this is where an AI responding to that person, it will be flat. Actually, a lot of my more touchy email for the past 6 months, and if you are one of those person, I'm gonna be honest. The answer that I'm doing with an AI versus the one that you would have that I would have sent would be two different things. So same thing. Another tip with ChatGPT. Hey, you have a conversation that you want to kind of route or make it a little bit more mellow. Use that prompt. Using crucial conversation, please answer to this email. Give it a little bit of context. And the answer that it's going to give you is wow. So it's essentially you're taking a full book and you're taking the concept to generate an answer. So it's not even like when you start using an AI, you'll be, give me the tone of that, or you put yourself in the mode of a business analyst, or all these different things. Now you're introducing other contexts and concepts to create an answer. So you could piggyback and add this book and a psychology book and something because you're talking to someone from a different culture, add all these elements and the answer would be totally different.
Again, with the aim of reaching your customer even more efficiently, right? Knowing whom you're speaking to.
Yes.
If I can give an example, right? Companies that live this situation, having negative comments on their social media or on their Google page, for example, right? Having these tools, ChatGPT or the others you mentioned, right, can help a company manage their brand awareness, their brand also image outside, right?
Yes.
And efficiently responding to the customer, maintaining a positive vision of the customer to you, interacting with them even more.
Yeah.
And a company that has bad reviews nowadays, it's hurtful. If people see you and they see that you have a bad reputation, losing people, losing customers, it hurts, right?
So this is a great subject. First off, companies can have bad reviews, but the overall perspective, you should have more goods than bad ones.
Yeah, okay? You need to generate the good ones.
Okay,
right?
so here comes another customer been around for ages. I'm talking 30, 40 years, and his average Google review was like 1.4.
would you go to a place that has 1.4?
The answer is no.
No, you
So
wouldn't.
the first thing is, once again, with the proper automation tools, the more advanced CRMs like the ones that we were talking earlier, the moment someone writes a Google review, regardless of the number you get, the rating you get, you would get an answer. And for Google, regardless if it's a good one or a bad one, you have to answer quickly, typically within 24 to 48 hours. It has a big impact on your marketing efforts down the road. Okay, I'm going to get back to this. So if you have a bad review, the good rule of thumb is to answer. Typically, you're trying to figure out if it's a real customer, because unfortunately, even on some of our comments, we get spam and we get the robots and stuff like that. Okay, spammers, and I can't remember the terms. But for that company, the only thing that we start doing is we automated the collection of positive reviews.
Yeah.
So in a short span, I'm talking 3 to 6 months. Now his reviews is at 4.5 or something like that.
Because this is so much of a portion of how do we choose to do business with a company now. We look them up.
True.
And if you see that they have a good review, even though it would not be true and that they would have a way to have arranged it, right?
Yeah.
You will choose that company over a company that has lesser good reviews.
Yes, and funny enough, you don't need that many reviews to build your credibility versus your competitors. I'm being honest. You're getting into the 100,000, 100, 200 reviews, it's already enough.
Yeah.
But you'll have bigger companies, sometimes they as good as yours, that have no reviews, and people will take your services over theirs. So that's the first. So going back to the notion of positive and negative review, the speed at which you do it with the right tools, how you can automate it, just reviews itself. When you have low reviews, that dollar that you're spending on AdWords or different campaigns or etc., because you have a negative perspective on your profile, that dollar is like worth 75 cents, to give you an idea. The opposite, that dollar is worth $1.50 in terms of the reach that you're getting.
Can you expand on this concept, please?
It's quite simply is, if you have good Google reviews for the same dollar versus your competitors, you will get more audience.
So your dollar goes further.
So if you have bad reviews in average, they're not going to push you as much because you have a bad reputation.
Yeah.
So this is just one of the different algorithms that Google is pushing, and it's been updated all the time. For now, as we're recording this, it's still up to date to put in place a proper process to collect your reviews and to offset the ones that are negative. The ones that are negative to answer quickly, and essentially with that, it will have a big impact on everything else you do with your marketing strategy.
So Dave, please, the burning question is, how can we reach you to help us?
Oh my God.
What is the way to reach the sensei, right? How can we talk to you and get your services, right?
Well, there's many ways. We're going to share the different links at the end of the podcast. You can simply engage on the social media that you've seen this podcast. If you're on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook, you can reach one of our pages. We also have our website, wiseba.com. You can certainly, you know what? Actually, the fastest way would be through my chat bot on my website. This would be
wiseba.com.
wiseba.com. This would be the easiest one because this workflow is very well made for the volume that we want to get. So yeah, that would be a link that we'll provide, but on the wiseba.com, the chatbot box, that would be the easiest.
All right. So I think we have to sum it up for the ladies and gents that have been graceful enough to listen to us. So if you could summarize, Dave, how does the tools and the mapping process help people in their marketing objectives to get more money, to save more time, to have more leads. If you could sum it up in 2 sentences.
Well, first off, set by setting the goals,
Okay.
then break it down in a short period of time. Get help. Work with partners, work with specialists, people that's all they do. So if you want to work on Instagram, talk to the person that does Instagram. On LinkedIn, that person or different mechanism, marketing channel that you're using. So plan, build a plan, execute, look at the data, adjust, and move on.
And meet your financial objectives.
Yes, that's a goal.
So, Dave, if you have a topic, or I guess you would like to introduce on the next podcast, what do you have cooking for us?
Well, most likely the next podcast is going to be a follow-up to marketing. That is the sales process. So that's one of my good one, my favorite one.
So we're going to talk about money?
We're talking about sales, man.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you everyone to have listened to us. So this was David and I'm Joshua. It's an honor to be with you, man, and to be able to discuss with you. Hope to see you next time.
Thank you for participating in this craziness. Hopefully we're able to create value with what we're discussing today, starting with the frustration, but then proposing solutions and giving you insights. Thank you very much for listening.